lackeys. At this point, Firebat has given up on trying to kill the evil totem. To which I say, TJ, how long can this go on?
It can go on for a long time, I assure you. I'm curious about the trades that turn. I wonder what he's trying to play into with the trades.
Well, there's Warpath to consider for sure.
But Warpath would kill the Frightened Flunky anyway. I guess Warpath would protect his Life Drinker. If he kills the Frightened Flunky,
yes.
it protects his Life Drinker from Warpath. Because now if Firebat Warpaths, he leaves the Life Drinker up at 1 health.
If anybody's out there who's played Quest Shaman has realized, the same as I have at one point, is that it's never enough. You want to know what it feels like to be a quadrillionaire in life, but don't have the access to it right now? Double shield slam. See, now this is really interesting, because Firebat had the opportunity to shield slam the previous turn, and now he's just like double shield slamming a minion that was generated for what felt like to be free.
He basically shield slammed the evil totem there, if you really think about it. Yeah. Just gave him an extra lackey.
But by killing it...
Oh! Oh, no!
Oh, wow. This got spicy. Oh, ETC is very stressed. Again, he needs this victory. Firebat has that comfort of being a 3-2. But a brawl here and Octosari drawing a card could burn some very valuable cards.
He does have Shutterwalk and Barista in hand. I think those are the two that he absolutely wants to hold on to.
Sure.
But the thing about it is it gets him closer to fatigue, and it gives him less resources to work with.
Less time?
Less time. So all of a sudden, that war of attrition that we've talked about, that warrior, the way warrior wins, all of a sudden is much easier for Firebat to execute if there's 5 less resources that he has to worry about.
Oh, Firebat's not going to kill it. So by playing Dr. Boom Mad Genius, ETC gets to evolve it.
Oh, I love that new thing.
Maybe Firebat doesn't feel like overdrawing ETC is his path to victory.
It's probably not.
But at the same time, this also lets ETC push a lot of free damage.
King Crush? Oh, evolved twice. Hakar! Now imagine he got the Hakar and the Octosari. Obviously that couldn't work, but that's the kind of situations where this game might end up gravitating towards. What's going to happen in the late stages of the game?
Oh, wow.
So, also, here's another question. I haven't actually been able to test this myself.
Okay.
If you double evolve a 10, it doesn't jump to 12. It just evolves 10 to 11. It doesn't work. 10 to 11, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it stays the same thing.
Yes, I'm assuming that's the way it works.
Yes. Oh man, I don't even know who Hakar is worse for. I think ETC draws more cards
because he plays Novice Engineers.
I mean, he could choose not to play those things.
Sure.
But then, is that too big of a detriment to his game plan?
Firebat has a clear through the Hero Power and Triple Warpath. Definitely has to consider it given how many lackeys are out there, so if he ends up playing a Stormbringer or a Bloodlust, he ends up being in trouble.
Job's done.
And now, let the car games begin.
That gets exciting. Obviously, Firebat has a little bit of an edge long term because he can always Archivist Elysiana to remove the bloods from his deck.
Hero Power, Giggling Inventor. Just reload the board exactly to where it was. Early Shovel Fist.
Okay, that's much better.
That is definitely better. And I mean, ETC is unafraid even in the sight of a Kaboom. Now, Firebat should know that ETC is down to 1 lackey. But you know what? Isn't really as bad as you might think.
This would be a good time for a master plan.
Firebat brawls. Knows that ETC most likely shouldn't have Shutterwalk at this early in the game. ends up being able to clear with the Hero Power and Vicious Scrap Hound.
Yeah.
ETC, of course, has the Shutter Walk, but he has way more battle cries he wants to play before he gets the Shutter Walk.
Oh, I love that.
Especially with Barista in hand.
ETC can start racking up big damage. Kobold Lackey, Bog Slosher. Start investing it into the pool. But how does he balance that with the Barista plus the other cards in his hand? Because the thing is, the way ETC's played this game, too, is that he's going to be generating a lot of lackeys in the hand. He's played 2 Cable Rats. He's played 2 Ethereal Lackeys. He's played a Sludge Slurper. That's 5 cards that are going to go into your hand.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's going to be a lot that comes off that Shutter Walk. So if you keep investing into it, there's going to be some fireworks. And also, more importantly, you want to free up your hand space.
The question is, does he hold on to this Kobold Lackey for Barista Lunch? I think the answer is yes, because you're getting 2 back. I guess, I don't know. It's tough, though. Having a 5/5 on board is also really
I think he wants
enticing.
to dump his hand.
Yeah.
Plus, Brawl was used, so having the 5/5 on the board and Warpath.
Yeah. At the same time, though, dumping your hand means Barista gets less value. But, of course, you have so many cheap battle cries in the deck that you can always just find something off the top to get Barista value. Especially if he picks up, say, second Sludge Slurper. Or even Evil Cable Rat. Did he use both naturally, or did he... No, he bounced one back. Maybe that was last game. No, that was last game. Yeah, he's used both.
Oh, board clear opportunity here for Firebat with the Mega Devastator.
Light the fuses!
Board clear opportunity with Dynamatic as well.
Yep.
I think he was hoping to be able to clear everything no matter what he did, so I like holding on to the Mega Devastator in case the opponent puts out another big evolved minion.
Yep.
ETC finds a Life Drinker plus Barista. I like doing that. The more Life Drinkers I can play in, the better. In fact, I'd probably even just throw in the Evil Totem in this position. Then Lackey, Barista Lynch, and then Shutterwalk. I think that the more power low the Shutterwalk is, the better. Because the more Life Drinkers you play in, means the more Life Drinkers Shutterwalk executes, which means the lower your opponent's life total is to use whatever Lackey you generate to end the game.
Yep.
So it's a compounding thing.
Oh.
I get why he's doing it. A lot of removal's been used. He's generating a big board. I think I would have been a little greedier, TJ. Like I said, Shaman changes you.
Eyes are open. There is little time.
Hey, good tickets don't come.
Yeah, see, like, that was like an okay Shutterwalk. That, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, TJ, I hate seeing wasted potential. It makes me sad.
Well, his reasoning is probably that, I'm going to generate a ton of lackeys that I can then double back with Barista.
Right, but I think I see it the opposite direction, which is...
Whereas you want a ton of lackeys and a ton of damage, so then you can follow it up with...
finish the game.
And finish the game.
Plus, there's also Corrupted Blood in there. So, yeah, I mean, look, that's just the way I would prefer to play it. Perhaps ETC sees like the timing because of the clues, right? Like Brawl's been used, Warpath's been used, your opponent's playing like Dynamatic and kind of struggling to clear. So if you generate a big board, maybe even have an opportunity to generate more damage that way. I feel like Firebat, if he can just withstand a little bit more, which looks like ETC's Lackey generation hasn't been that great, he might be able to get there. Now, also, this is kind of funny that the Ticket Scalper came into the mix because ETC has a full hand. He does have an opportunity to overdraw the Corrupted Blood.
He does.
It's a funny thing. I don't think it's a great play. It's just an option. In fact, I'd argue that it's better to just start playing the Life Drinker and other cards like that right now so you can get better Barista value. He doesn't want to get. He does want to kill his Armageddon though. That's the big thing.
Yeah, he saw that it got value. And we can see that it gave essentially +6/+6 because it powered Steam Bot +2 and then each of the 2 Wardens.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? Like, had this been Cobalt Lackeys and he's playing like Youth for Brewmaster and Knife Drinker, ADC would have gotten there anyways with the Barista, with more mana flexibility. Totally get it.
Ooh, it looks like he got a rush.
Oh,
Got a charge. Did he get the attack?
I don't think so.
Oh!
I wonder if that's going to come back to bite him.
Oh. That was free damage.
Yeah, it's purely a misplay. There's no way to frame it.
I hate, Dan, you hate losing value. You hate losing potential.
You hate losing damage.
I hate losing damage.
Okay, then.
I hate losing damage.
Play faster. That's what we've been saying it several times throughout the season. Just play a little faster.
It's a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Like 3 seconds faster.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to just rush things out and play things without thinking. I'm saying, when you see the rope, it's time to go.
Time for a master plan.
It's time to go. Brian Kibler talks a lot about how the hardest part about Hearthstone isn't necessarily the complicated interactions of sequencing or knowing like Zephyrus outcomes, although if you ask certain players, it is that hard. It's not that. The hardest part about Hearthstone, according to Brian Kibler, is the timer. He says that in other card games that he's played, he's had turns where he's been able to execute it over the course of like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
He said it wasn't a hard turn. It sounds like it's hard because it takes 45 minutes to play, but he's like, no, he had time to think it through. He says if you have time to think everything through in Hearthstone, it's not a hard game. What makes it a hard game is the fact that you only have 70 seconds and you have to execute things with the animation.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I see a lot of people say, oh, I wish I could disable animations. Like, oh, so you wish you could make the game
I hope
easier.
you like my invention.
It feels like an artificial limitation to you, Jay, but it's a limitation that exists for a very important reason, which is keep the game moving. We don't want people to sit there installing forever, and given infinite time, yeah, we could figure out every optimal play. But that'd be also really boring.
It would be.
No one wants to sit through every turn being an hour long.
Maybe one person.
Except for like 5 people on the competitive Hearthstone subreddit.
Buttons are so squishy.
And also, it's not something that changes, right? It's been the same. There was a slight change very early on.
It used to be 90 seconds.
That moved it from 90 seconds to 70 seconds.
Right,
And
and I
then there
still
was
think
the
70
change that moved turn 1 from 70 seconds to 50 seconds.
I still think that turns are too long. I would like them to be even. Cool play, by the way, to bounce the Flesh Shaper and get it even bigger to punch through the minions.
They traded over the wrong one.
TJ.
And he missed the rush!
minion!
Ah!
He could have had a full board clear. The
I'm
7/7 could have gone to the 5/7, and 2 1/1s could have turned the 4/2.
I'm in pain.
TJ, I thought it was too early to say this, but I am upset.
We're in a perpetual state of anger.
I
the
am
last 3
not
weeks
happy.
watching Grandmasters.
It pains me. ETC is one of my favorite players to watch for the storyline. I love his background. He is the oldest player in the Grandmasters. He has a family. Being a pro Hearthstone player is his dream. It's something that he actually didn't even talk about with his family. You've seen his interviews that his children play Hearthstone, but for a long time, for several years, EGC played Hearthstone and didn't tell his children that he tried to pursue it semi-professionally because he never reasoned to. Grandmasters gave him
You like
that.
my invention.
By the way, you can draw into a blood
Oh.
any second.
Oh, dodged it. Kept Barista, too.
And if you keep making plays like that,
Drink with me,
not
friend.
just relegation, but it's going to be a real hard thing to climb back into. And ETC told us that he did take some time from his construction contracting career in order to focus onto Pro Hearthstone. ETC's going to climb back, but Security Rover is going to do an excellent job picking apart this board. And Firebat, he's just on the stall plan.
Yeah.
He legitimately has an opportunity to fatigue Shaman.
Well, I mean, the corrupted blood's going to do the job for him eventually before fatigue ever kicks in. So,
Right. And also something to consider as well is that Firebat can replace those corrupted bloods, like you mentioned, with the Archivist Elysiana. So he's not actually in that pinch position. And I know you mentioned it earlier, TJ, but I think it's becoming a reality.
it is.
We were just mentioning the hypothetical.
Yeah, I think this is a near impossible game for ETC to win now. Just for the fact that he doesn't have enough time, he doesn't have enough damage left in his deck. Shutterwalk's gone, Burst of Legion's there, but he has a Faceless Lackey.
Right.
And maybe a Youthful Brewmaster or Novice Engineer. Novice Engineer gets him close to the Bloods. That's why Firebat doesn't care about it. He's saying, sure, Barista or bounce back your Novice Engineer. I don't care.
Yes.
Because eventually you're going to draw the Blood. I have a way to remove it from my deck. You don't. So as long as I keep removing everything you play on the board, I will win sooner rather than later.
A lot of questions on what would happen if ETC was able to squeeze in a little more damage, maybe get a little bit better lackeys. I will admit that his back-end lackey generation has been pretty poor. Witchy lackeys and Titanic lackeys for days.
Yeah.
He's had a handful of Kobold lackeys.
So we've had 3 Kobold Lackeys, 2 Goblins, 2 Ethereals, 4 Witchies,
Fifth in the hand.
5th in hand, and
3 Titanic lackeys.
and 3 Titanic Lackeys.
And only
That's
one
the only
faceless
faceless.
lackey. Yeah. So in the end, a little bit more skewed to the Witchy lackeys, but it's an even distribution, relatively speaking. And Firebat is going to climb ahead. You know, TJ, when people tell me that they want to play with animations off and they want to have like longer time to think and do all stuff, and they start making excuses for not playing fast enough, it's reminding me of like StarCraft. People say, you know what? No rush 15. No rush 15. Play me in a 1v1 skill game. But yeah, obviously change the rules of which time doesn't really matter as a resource.
You can play aggro roam.
I mean, this is the part where I admit that that's all I played in custom games, which was no rush 15.
I just
On
cannon
Lost
rush
Temple.
every game.
And you made Masters.
I played random when I made Masters.
That's right.
Which is a cheese within itself, because there's a big thing in the StarCraft community where if you're playing random, oftentimes you reveal your race before the game.
Yeah.
You're playing random for the challenge for yourself, not for the
You didn't
advantage
tell
of your
people.
opponent. I didn't tell anybody.
You're awful.
So
human
I would
being.
force them to scout, and I would never scout.
Do want to point out, by the way, go and check out the StarCraft semifinals. I saw that Cyril is winning. Big surprise. You're telling me that the WCS World Champion is still in the top 4? It's like, yeah, it tends to go there. It's pretty sick. Definitely can check it out over at twitch.tv/StarCraft.
You ever going to go back to your roots, Dan? Cast some StarCraft?
I love StarCraft still. It's too fast, TJ. My good years are behind me in terms of keeping up. My mental APM can't keep up with the Korean and Cyril's APM.
We're getting old,
Also
Dan.
because I really don't like Zerg. I'm a Protoss player at heart. I play a little Terran to try to challenge myself mechanically. I just can't get behind it. And it's sad because
5 more minutes.
almost every date I was on this year, TJ, that the girl who knew about StarCraft said that she was a Zerg fan.
Big mistake.
It's a big mistake. It's a red flag.
I mean, I played Zerg 33.3% of the time, so...
Makes sense. I feel like that directly affects our caster chemistry. I always feel like you get only like 66.67% of my jokes.
Sometimes, yes.
That's actually a pretty high conversion rate, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
I have some obscure knowledge.
Of obscure things.
Yeah, like
There's little time.
popular mainstream anime.
I know.
TJ doesn't get it.
No. This is
Wow.
a big
That is
desperation move.
a big dozing marksman. He's going to be asleep for a long time. How is it that Firebat drew the Corrupted Blood just now?
Well, he drew it at the same time as ETC, because ETC drew it with 6 cards left in his deck. Firebat drew with 7 cards left in his deck.
You're right.
So Firebat actually drew it earlier than ETC, considering deck size.
Yeah.
It was shuffled in 1 card earlier. And
oh, he got his second brawl, so now he's like, he's gonna go for the Arcus Elysiana. I don't really need any other card in my deck.
Yep.
So
2 cards left for ETC because 2 are Bloods.
Militia Commander seems pretty good. Archmage Vargoth is interesting, but I don't think he needs it.
Oh my!
Wow, all 3 of these are amazing. Ziliax knows that he's going into fatigue.
Yeah.
Ends up picking up heal mechanisms.
So Faceless Lurker, Militia Commander, Attorney Rover, Ziliax, Vicious Scalehide. Pretty much all defensive options because Firebat knows this game's not going to go on very long.
He also picked every card that possible that could attack that turn. So
Yes.
he picked mechs, he picked rushers.
Yep.
He picked lifesteal.
Yeah. He knows the only way he loses this game is if ETC has an insane turn right now. Like he hero powered into Ethereal, Lackey into Bloodlust and Wind Fury.
Squishy.
Yeah, and also even the barista was pretty poor value, all things considering. ETC hoping to steal Archivist, that'd be a big swing. Does not get it, and also because the battle cry is from Dr. Boom and not from Thrall, he does not get the rush. Ooh, Mulch Muncher.
Finally, he gets to attack.
What? You have so much time to make this attack. Please, ETC.
Actually, that gives ETC a
No.
small chance.
No, it does not. He has 3 cards left in his deck, TJ.
And 2 are Bloods.
2 are Bloods.
But if he shuffles the Blood into Firebat and he draws all the Blood, nah, he still wouldn't win.
Yeah, he would draw way too many Bloods.
Yeah.
Way too fast. What he's hoping for specifically is that Firebat doesn't answer the Sakar, and Firebat doesn't have a Brawl.
Yeah.
And Firebat has a high chance of both. This Hakar surviving as a 9/6 is ETC's very, very last chance.
And then dodges the Blood for 1 more turn and the 9 attack.
1 out of 7.
Ooh! So now 3 out of the last 4 cards in ETC's deck are Bloods.
Job done.
Well played.
Yeah,
Man.
ETC with the well played.
You're
That's a 2-0 for Firebat. As ETC is going to concede, he is out of options.
You win this
Firebat improves to 4-2. Moves up the standings. Firmly in 2nd place with the potential to tie first after today's games. ETC drops to 1-5. Firm control of relegation spot right now, TJ.
Yeah, pretty rough. You know, we're starting to get to that point where it really starts to sink in.
Those who are at the bottom of the standings are playing worse on average, and I wonder if it's just a negative feedback loop.
Yeah.
Earlier today, we saw very uncharacteristic play of Fino, and where no one doubts whether or not Fino is a worthy player to go to the global finals. Everyone knows how good he is at his best. But his worst right now looks really bad, and I wonder if that's the same with ETC. Because he's in last place, because he knows what he's playing for, is messing with him. And I think that intensity is really starting to affect some of these players. Players are now starting to say, if you just play worse in GM, that's just what happens.
Yeah.
And I think that's just the nature of the competition.
It is kind of brutal. You know, going to the global finals does not prevent you from getting relegated. Gives you a nice bonus right at the end of your year.
A nice see you later package.
A nice
farewell.
Yeah, exactly.
Severance package is what we're calling it.
Yeah,
here.
but unfortunately, it doesn't protect you. And ETC and PNC to an extent, who's down there as well. Well, PNC and Fino, excuse me, are both kind of at the bottom of the standings. Fino more so. So pretty brutal for them to have to fight back after such a good season 1.
Well, let's go ahead and check in with Firebat, the original season 1 champion from way back when. What's up, Firebat? You there?
Hi, how's it going?
It's going all right. It's going all right. So 4-2. You're in 2nd place right now in your division with the opportunity to tie for 1st place. Things have gone pretty well so far. Let's talk a little bit about that series, starting off with what felt like to be a pretty convincing Priest victory. Were you surprised that ETC queued Shaman first?
A little bit. I thought he was going to queue Druid first. That's why I went with the Priest, sort of the mind games there. But Priest has favorables against all of his decks. So I was really surprised. Yeah, I don't know. I thought he would queue the Mirror, I guess. But
Right.
one of the things with the mind games, he didn't ban my Warrior. And so I was able to play both Priest and Warrior, that's a red flag when you get to play the two best decks in the metagame. So it's like this guy is doing something creative. He's trying to go on the next level. So in my mind, when people try and go super deep like that, you always just go level 1 on them. So if they're going way above and beyond, then you just go back to the beginning and it circles back and it gets them. So I just first queued Priest because that's the basic standard thing to do, and it felt like he was overthinking it. So, maybe just because the way his season's going, whatever, he's getting in his head a little bit. But his lineup and stuff is like, it's out there. He's going really deep and creative, and he's trying. And sometimes if you overthink things, you get destroyed by the basic keep it simple strategy. And that's what I just tried to do today, is just keep it as simple as I possibly could.
Yeah, rock, paper, scissors, right? And anything. If you just go a little bit too far ahead, you mess with your own game plan. Our theory was that he thought that maybe by leaving Warrior, you tried to beat the fact that everyone first queues Priest with Warrior, so he tries to play Shaman. But like you said, you just played Priest. It's like, well, I wasn't doing anything fancy, and I got you.
Yeah.
Going into game number 2, it seemed like EGC was tripping a lot with some of the attacks. And that's kind of led to a big overarching theme here in Grandmaster Season 2, where players are now just saying, as a general blanket statement, that players are playing worse in GM. That's just what happens. Any commentary from your perspective? Because it doesn't seem like it's affecting you. I feel like your play has been pretty tight in most corners here.
Well, I've been fortunate enough to, win the matchup decisions when I need to, get in favorable spots. And so it's a lot easier to play when you have good draws as well. Like that game, I had double Eternium Rover into double Frightened Flunky. It's like, you could be rank 5 and play that hand perfectly, whereas like ETC had a little bit more work for him that game, I would say. He did find some good spots, though. He was able to get that. He kept the evil totem, right? And I was trying my hardest to deny that evil totem value. And that thing was still a pain in my bum the whole friggin' game, because he was able to wiggle out with the lackeys and find a way to get that thing on the board. So, he did some good stuff that was able to get him into positions where he could profit. It's a shame that he roped out some of the turns and wasn't able to get some of the rush minions in. But I think those were kind of minor things. His overarching game plan was pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too hard on him for that game. I think he played the Shaman pretty well. I got pretty much as good of draws as Warrior can get in the matchup.
Got it. Real quick, you kind of held on to Shield Slam for a turn, and then you end up having to double Shield Slam and trade, and the Evil Totem got a little value. Can you explain a little bit of that mentality? Because that was something that you were deep in the tank, roping and thinking about. So what made you decide to commit those Shield Slam then versus like Shield Slam, the Evil Totem, and just cutting off the value right there and then the turn before?
I didn't do it the turn before. I would have done it the turn before if it was threatening to complete his quest, but his quest was getting done either way. So it was like, all right, I don't want to Shield Slam this Evil Totem. And then the turn after, it was mainly to kill the 3/7. And then, like, on top of killing the 3/7, you get the perk of you get to remove the Evil Totem for free, which is good. I wanted to play Dr. Boom on 9 no matter what happened. And you could see that 3/7 was going to hit me a bunch, so I decided to deal with it. But Dr. Boom on 9 was mandatory. You get outvalued so easily in that matchup, so I needed to try and set up as clean of a board as possible to play that Dr. Boom on. And of course, he gets the Giggling Inventor, double Giggling Inventor evolved. There's an Octosari, and it's like, oh my god, I'm going to take 100 damage now if I play this. And I lose the opportunity to make him overdraw a ton of cards. But I still think it's right. You still have to try and create the window to play the boom, and he has to try and create the deny the boom. And so he did his best to try and deny it. He saved for that big turn, and it wasn't enough still. But that's what I'm saying. Like it was, aside from missing some rush attacks, I think he was messing with me a lot that game. That matchup was hard, and he did not make it easy. He put key pressure on the key turns, and luckily enough, though, Boom was able to get there.
Fair enough. I'd say, it definitely felt that case. The macro lines are there, but I think that's not enough right now. I think you need to tighten up both corners, the macro and the micro. But, when you're firing all cylinders fired back, your macro, your micro, and your draws are panning out, and you have, solid lineup, leads to a pretty good week for you. Congrats, 4-2, and we'll see you back next week.
Thank you.
Firebat 2014 world champion, Firebat 2019 world champion. What do you think about that, TJ?
The first repeat in
First
Hearthstone's
repeat
history.
in the 5-year anniversary. It'd be pretty,
Yeah.
pretty fitting, I'd say.
There's still, quite a few in the running for a repeat as well. We have Tom over in APAC who's doing well.
Slaying it as usual.
Yeah. Pavel is actually doing quite well.
He had a little bit of a rough week. He went 0-2,
Yeah,
but he
but-
started off good.
Yeah, he's 3-3 right now, I believe, which is better than where he was at this point last season.
It was like 1-5.
1-5, I think. So he still has a chance. We moved the playoffs to top 4 instead of top 3.
Yep.
So more players per division. It's half the field that's going to get to go to playoffs. So maybe he's got a shot too.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, so of course, Hunter is 6-0.
No, he doesn't have a chance.
Next match is Strifego versus Eddie. Another battle between a player that is in the bottom of their division. Eddie, also similar to Firebat, can move up to tied for second, or could potentially get caught up a little bit by Strifego, who's trailing him closely. Eddie with the Protect Warrior, Strifego with the Ban Priest, and vice versa. Strifego going to go ahead and ban that Priest afterwards. What do you think about this, TJ?
This gives Eddie the ability to kind of target Warrior to an extent. By protecting Warrior himself and banning Druid, he takes the worst matchup off the table. So if you think about it, if he thinks he's confident in winning the mirror match, the Warrior mirror match, which I do because his Warrior deck is quite good in the mirror, and we'll get into a little bit later. But I do like this deviation from Eddie just because of how his Warrior deck is situated against Strife-Crow's lineup with the Zoo Warlock.
All right, let's go ahead and check in on the players for our featured match for today.
Hello, my name is Kong Chu. My handle is Strifecrow. One of my favorite esports memory, it was like a dream hack. I ended up having this epic, I don't even know how long this game against Clento eventually beat me in that game, but I kind of brought the mage to the tournament, not as say I thought it was the best thing ever, but because I just wanted to show people I could destroy everyone with my kind of troll deck.
My name is Eddie Liu, formerly Sehun628. Now it's just Eddie playing. When I first knew that, I received the email that I got into Grandmaster, I was really excited. I remember I was at school, I checked my email at 10:30, and I was hyped. I was like, oh my god, is this actually real? I constantly judge myself, oh, is this right? Is what I'm doing correct? And it means a lot. It means a lot to me that if other people are agreeing what I do and what I think.
I think my play is unique in the sense that I'm very technical. I really like to have my thoughts and game plans planned out and go from there. I think a lot of players are kind of the opposite, where they are very intuition focused. But I don't think I'll ever be playing the same decks over and over again. I think a key part of the league is that you want some unpredictability.
I think I'm a very consistent player. I think the X factor for myself is that I hate playing aggro decks, I would say. I'm a very control/anti-control player. I guess that's kind of my unique style, where I prefer outgrind my opponent in resources. At this point, I just want to try win worlds, but first step to win world is to be way better than your group.
The thing I'm most looking forward to in Grandmasters is kind of the dynamic. You have 2 matchups a week, and you can kind of target them. You can start making spreadsheets, see what they play, see what decks are good against the decks that they play. You can even kind of play some mind games like that. My personal goals this year is kind of to get back into Hearthstone. Because I took such a long break, I feel like I'm finally refreshed and ready to go. So that's one thing I'm just looking forward to get that motivation back.
Strifecrow on the line here, where him and ETC are both tied at 7th place going into today. With a win here, separates himself by an entire game. He'd be at 2-4. ETC is at 1-5. And that would put the spotlight on ETC for almost the rest of the weeks going after today. After 7 weeks of play, we're going to relegate a player. And I think for those fans who've been watching a lot, I know some fans, for example, message me and say they watch a little bit of Europe and a little bit of America, or a little bit of APAC and a little bit of Europe. They get doses here and there. But the most important thing to focus on, in my opinion, aren't just the playoffs, but who is going to have that 8th place spot. StrifeCro, one of the most legendary players in Hearthstone history from the very beginning. And Eddie, a player who's just kind of beginning his legacy, so to speak. And we'll see what's going to happen in game number 1, because this best of 3, again, a small drop in the bucket, but it's really important for both of them to get the win here.
Yeah, it really is. Eddie had a great season 1. StrifeCro had a middling season 1. So both players coming into this season with kind of an opportunity for a fresh mindset, because neither player obviously won, but they also didn't do super poorly. And I really like the strategy coming in from Eddie. He doesn't want to leave things up to a priest mirror like we've seen so many of the matchups. So instead he protects his warrior. And the thing about StrifeCro's lineup is that with Eddie's warrior list here, with the double Hecklebot, the Baleful Banker, and the Faceless Manipulator, he has a massive advantage in a warrior mirror matchup. So there's actually no disadvantage for Eddie if he protects warrior and bans druid for queuing warrior game 1. So he effectively goes into the series with a, considering the matchup, so right, if we go by the average matchups, a 1-0 lead, which gives him multiple opportunities to target what StrifeCro's doing. So I really like this strategy from Eddie, and we'll see if it pays off, because it's not guaranteed, right? He's got 3 good matchup. He's a good favorite in the warrior mirror because of his techs. He's favored against priest because warrior versus priest, and he's favored against Zulok because warrior versus Zulok. So I like the strategy. It gives him an easy Q target for game 1, and it makes StrifeCro's decisions difficult. The series is all going to be hinged upon whether or not StrifeCro can get a win with priest.
Yep, that's a really good breakdown there. I was kind of taken aback by the fact that Eddie seems to be playing it in a different location.
I think it's the same location, just has different curtains.
Ah.
He had the pink curtains last season, but he's in the same exact spot, slightly moved forward with different curtains.
Yesterday, though, I thought Eddie was playing in like a white room, with white walls. It was
yeah,
this one?
it looks like it.
I guess he finally put up the new curtains.
I finally put up the new curtains. Yeah, it could be a new room, but it looks very similar to his other room, just with the grayish black curtains instead of the pink curtains.
Gotcha. New curtains for a new season. StrifeCro, again, I told us a little bit at the beginning of the stream. I actually had to sit down with him, and I very jokingly said, hey, like, why are you sucking this season? And he said that things surrounding the game has just been very difficult for him for some reason. He says that, like, for example, he plays fine off stream. He's playing when he's streaming fine, but when it comes to GM, he says that he can't focus. Like, he's losing track of a lot of stuff, and even if he's, like, looking at deck list and analyzing things and even having cards in front of him, he's like, yeah, I'm just forgetting a lot of really important things and like forgetting what's the important macro lines of like, okay, what turn am I going to try to fit this? He says he just can't focus and he can't explain why. And I said, well, what time are you waking up? He's like, 1 p.m. I'm like, right now it's 1:28 p.m. So your mind is often very foggy in the morning. And I know StrifeCro's lifestyle. He likes to take things very chill. He's more of a night owl. So he's like, yeah, I'm going to start waking up earlier. So I'm like, what, like 12:30? He's like, no, I'll wake up like 11 a.m., 10 a.m. even. And trying to take it a little bit more seriously. I think that's going to be the key to success. And you've heard some players talk about that too. Oh, I just woke up and I just started playing and I misplayed. If this is your job, this is your profession, you got to wake up and show up on time. But being early is often what leads to success, TJ.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Back in my college days, I did some sleep studies.
Like you were the subject of sleep study, or
no,
did you
studied
others?
other sleep studies.
So you just watched people while they slept?
No, I studied other people's sleep studies.
So why you wanted a room together for Worlds?
What now?
1, I didn't, and 2, I'd be open to a next Worlds. But I read other people's reports that had done sleep studies on their sleep studies, and the most in those studies, the most productive time of day was 3 hours after you woke up. So it's not like later on in the day or later on in the afternoon. The people that participated in that study were the most productive 3 hours on average after they woke up.
For the average human, TJ.
For the average human, yes.
What if you are
Well,
What if you are 200 IQ control warrior player only?
I don't know. We'd have to do another sleep study. Let's get
Very easy to achieve.
Fibonacci.
Just watch them play Control Warrior Mirrors for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's always funny when you bring up that kind of information to people who are very stubbornly lazy about when they want to wake up and have an undisciplined schedule about stuff. They're like, the most effort they'll ever put into anything in life, TJ, is defending their lifestyle.
is Strife Girl one of those people?
I don't know. Maybe. Strife goes so chill. Like, if you tell him, like, yeah, you should probably just wake up, or he's like, yeah, you're probably right.
And then he doesn't do it. I don't know. He doesn't look like he woke up 30 minutes ago.
He doesn't really fight with anything, you know? Or he doesn't really argue with you. That being said, this early weapons project to clear out the Light Warden, really effective tool for Eddie. Picks up the Shield Slam.
I mean, Eddie just has some insane answers here.
He's got the juice.
Yeah, he's got Restless Mummy to clear out this board position. Next turn, he has Shield Slam to deal with Armor Up Shield Slam to deal with any threat. He's going to take 1 here, so go down to 8. He can reasonably assume that Strife Curl will swing, and he'll go down to 6. So he can deal with an 8 attack minion, or 8 health minion, excuse me. So I do like the Restless Mummy here. I don't think you can afford to be greedy with Plague of Wrath. I think that's probably what's on Eddie's mind. He's saying, well, I don't have an activator for Plague of Wrath right now, so if I get greedy with it, and Strife Crow, who would have Circle of Healing last turn, doesn't heal up these minions to full, I'm in a great position with Plague of Wrath. But I think this is one of those matchups where you just have to say, don't get greedy, remove things on the board, don't get punished, and that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, it's quite a time to be alive where Warrior is like this weird unsung hero of like making sure Priest doesn't overrun the meta when everyone was calling for Garrosh's head. I mean, they've been doing that for decades over in World of Warcraft land. But for the past few months in particular, it's been very heated for the Warrior class. The Warrior mains have been getting a lot of hate. Playing High Priest of Met walks straight into the Shield Slam, and Shrefko is going to start getting out-tempoed. Eddie has all the removal, but that's what Warrior's supposed to do. The fact that Warrior has lost a Priest on stream a handful of times in Grandmasters, in my opinion, feels more of an anomaly than actual reality.
I would agree. And I think that Eddie definitely comes to the realization that, or Strife Crow comes to the realization that if he walks into Shield Slam too hard, he could get blown out of the game. So he's going to test the waters here, potentially see what Eddie's hand looks like before he plays High Priest of Met, or at least wait until he can get immediate value out of the Met.
Yeah, Shield Slam to take out that 2/6, and I think that Shield Slam might make Strifeco feel more comfortable playing the Met because, okay, a single target removal has been exhausted.
Yeah. Also at the same time, I don't know if Strifeco has a choice to play this slower. If he lets Eddie build up more resources, the harder it's going to be for him to try and capitalize on a dead turn.
I see a dark future.
And meanwhile, Eddie's got to be feeling pretty good here.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even need to use Shield Slam. He still had the clear on the Amet with Restless Mummy this turn. Mega Assembly to just pick up something to play for the future.
Spark Drill, surprisingly, seems like a good pick here. Oftentimes it's too expensive, but when you're in a world where one minion can kill you, having just another piece of on-demand removal for a single threat seems very enticing. Spring Rocket kind of fits the same bill, but cheaper and doesn't deal with a smaller minion. So I like the Spark Drill pickup. This one's a little more interesting.
Safeguard seemed pretty decent
Yeah,
option as well.
I would agree.
Last week, Strife Pro had an opportunity to close out 100% one game and pretty much bobbled it at the end zone. You know, of course, in honor of all the sports ball season starting this week, DJ.
Sports Ball!
Strife Crow had had the ball on the 1 yard line, and his opponent said, "You know what? We're just not going to send anybody up on the field." And Trevor somehow fumbled it.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah. It was a 100% solvable situation. You could have guaranteed a 100% victory. And instead he chose the 25% chance to give his opponent a victory, and he got it.
Could have threw it into the goal for a home run, but instead decided to
go to a power play
and into the penalty box.
the penalty box. Got it. Well, this Accoladed Pain and Wild Pyromancer can go together, but it does come at the cost of his cards, like his entire hand. He could alternatively just play the Accoladed Pain, but that walks to Restless Mummy.
Let the pain speak to me.
But the Priest gets owned like this, TJ. It looks so bad.
But it feels so good.
When I say this, it feels so bad. It feels bad to play.
Yeah.
Because you think, I look really dumb. Like, I just can't do anything. This deck doesn't do anything.
It is, I would say, the most Feast or Famine deck that has ever existed in Hearthstone.
You sure?
What? Give me another example. Maybe I'm thinking of.
When you say Feast or Famine, you mean in that if their level 1 strategy doesn't work, it never goes, like they're dead. They're done for.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those.
Example.
Well, there's a few right now in the metagame that are like that. Like Aggro Warrior.
Well, I think Aggro Warrior has a lot of potential for comeback because they have a from-hand damage combo.
Okay, well, Priest has a lot of potential for comeback too.
But not from hand, right? Like, they need something to stick on board in order to win, whereas Warrior can do Core Card Elite, Inner Rage, Rampage, plus Bloodsworn Mercenary.
So do you... but they have to draw those cards, and like they only have Battle Rage. Do you justify comeback potential just purely based off from-hand damage?
No.
Okay. Because then Pirate Warrior and all that stuff is pretty all-in from the get-go. You would lose if they renoed on 6.
Yeah. I would still probably put Priest slightly above it.
Big Priest was also very much like that. Like if you didn't hit your Resurrect tools and you didn't hit Spellstone, you just lose. This game is 100%, 110% over, by the way.
At least in terms of how bad it feels or how dumb it looks.
Maybe APM Priest?
Oh, no, okay. APM Priest, maybe not the most Feast or Famine because it felt like they always had a chance to win until they were dead.
Sure. Miracle Rogue, that was super dependent on 5-minute Auctioneer. This is before the
But
the other
Topsy Priest does look the dumbest when it loses. Because you spend this whole game assembling this combo, and then you mess it up and lose.
Did you win that Druid game, by the way?
No. I misplayed at the end.
There's an APM Druid combo with Elise the Enlightened, Bees, Fabindus Floop, and his Glorious Gloop.
Yeah, I only got 22 damage
And
with the pounce,
Pounce.
and I needed 28.
Yeah, but you had like a full board, and you had like a bunch of stuff in there.
No, he cleared it.
He had like 2 cards.
Yeah, he cleared it.
He had 1 job.
I know. It was fun, though. It was really fun. It was exhilarating.
Did you play another game after?
No, I had to go. And I'm scared.
The combo Druid deck, the APM combo Druid deck, very fun to play. Very scary.
Yeah.
Very hard.
Who popularized it? Zanana?
Yeah, Xananan.
Go check out his Twitter. Just type ZANA and repeat until it pops up.
I'm actually debating if Eddie should just go play an Archivist here and close out the game. Doesn't need to,
Yeah.
but it would definitely speed up the process because even the Safeguard isn't threatening lethal.
Say the magic word.
Eddie going for the 120% victory. Strife Crow taps out. His only hope was the Northshire Cleric. And a limp to the finish line. But that's going to be game 1 in the books here. Strife Crow's Priest getting targeted. This is exactly what Eddie was going for based off what TJ's analysis was. He said, yes, I know people like to first Q Priest. Just protect the warrior and kill the priest.
Yeah.
It's almost that simple.
Yeah.
It almost is shocking that every other player is choosing not to do this because they might feel like priest beats warrior.
Well, it made more sense based off Strife Crow's lineup. And I think Strife Crow's lineup is kind of exactly what Eddie wanted to hit because he has Zoo Warlock instead of Shaman. You throw in Shaman, all of a sudden that strategy goes out the window because you're sacrificing tools in your warrior deck to make it better in the mirror. But it's still good against Zoo. It just gets much weaker against Shaman. So Strife Crow's lineup versus Eddie's decision and his lineup to bring here open up that possibility for Eddie. I think if he faces a Shaman lineup, he protects Priest and Q's Priest. Like that's the world we live in right now. But I do think it's pretty ingenious what he's managed to put together here.
All right, this resulted in a 1-0 lead. So we're going to take a break and when we come back. Game number 2 between Strife Crow and Eddie.
Darker than they've ever been. As evil descends from the skies, the world cries out, how will we survive? Out of the hall of explorers, and up from the dusty tombs, they grab their whips and fedoras. These legends of the past know exactly what to do. There might be magic monsters, mummies in the markets, and ancient mysticism. But this league's gonna save the world.
My name is Sam Braithwaite, and I'm the Senior Global Franchise Lead for Hearthstone Esports. This event was especially cool because it takes place right after the brand new expansion Rise of Shadows. Historically in Hearthstone Esports, we do our big events like this towards the end of an expansion cycle, but we really wanted to shake things up and really showcase that not only is the world champion the person who can pilot the best decks, but also the person who, when presented with a brand new game, can put together the best decks leading into the world championship. Cheers to you guys, the sold-out crowd here for the HCT 2019 World Championship.
Welcome back to 2019 HCT World Championship.
We've had a lot of fun games, and we're looking forward to the grand finals. Showdown. Viper versus Hunter Ace. Only one can be the champion. Oh, come on!
Match be dead.
Wacko pick a face coming out from Hunter Ace.
It's now or never. Archvillain report.
Okay! In a completely solved game, Hunter Ace finds a way to maximize his chances. It's been a wonderful journey throughout the past few years of the Hearthstone Championship Tour, where stars were made and dreams came true.
And he currently have 1-0, and that might change as we have Shaman versus Priest. It looks like Priest is well positioned to take a victory there. Do have to keep in mind that the Priest is banned away from any, so we're not going to have a Priest mirror. What is his best deck for mainly against Priest? Shaman, you argue?
Both are bad. But out of all of the decks, Eddie, kind of another nod to his strategy of trying to counter the Protect Priest, Q Priest strategy is shown in this Shaman deck. He's got an Earthshock. He also has a Plague of Murlocs naturally in the Shaman deck. So he's trying to position himself to be able to beat the Priest as consistently as he can while not sacrificing too much against other matchups. Because the way Conquest Shield works is, it's not like the Conquest of old where you can target one strategy. You can't go all in on targeting one deck because they could just not play that deck. Very, very... Whoa, was that a young Priestess?
It is. There's 2 of them. I haven't seen this card since Zoo Warlock in 2014. This is one of the cards that Strife Grows featuring in his Priest deck. We do see a lot of flexes with the Bwansamdi tech. When you have Bwansamdi, you have the freedom to play a bunch of 1-drops.
Wow.
Anything that says health, you kind of type into the search bar and look, and you get Beaming Sidekick. You get the young Priestess. Some interesting stuff in there.
He's kind of topsy-turvy to make this happen.
Well, with more 1-drops means better board presence.
Sure, yeah. Pretty interesting.
And because he has that 2-1, he challenges the Evil Totem.
This is kind of a cool tech. I kind of just gloss over this because I saw all of the normal standard cards in the list, and
TJ said, Priest next.
Yeah, but I don't know how much it improves this matchup. I guess having the answer to the Evil Totem is good, but that doesn't make or break the matchup. So we'll see. We'll see how it's going to fare, but he's going to be able to protect this, and if he starts picking up more minions, then could find himself in a decent spot here. Eddie's hand, not the worst.
Of course it's the right way.
Does have some things to do early. Obviously, Questing Explorer, one of the best cards to have in your opening hand as the Shaman, if not the best. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Circle of Healing plus the Injured Blade Master. That's a card that's very difficult to deal with the Shaman. And becomes a 4/8.
I must consider.
How worried is Stripecrow about the Plague of Murlocs? The answer is he doesn't care.
What? I mean, the Plague of Murlocs is just a really unlikely thing.
It's very unlikely. It's only a one of. You probably keep it in the mulligan, so that makes it more likely.
I personally think that there's more tech that can be wiggled in there. I think Shamans are a little greedy because they want to take out the Warriors. But having tech is really important. Plague of Murlocs definitely a little creative. Earthshocks I think are more reliable. I threw in a Hex the other day on my Asia account because I didn't have a couple of the epics that I needed to finish off the rest of the deck. So I was like, yeah, just throw a Hex in there. And it ended up working out fairly well. Because Priest would all in. Like, it feels like when Priest I stuck a 6 health main, it's time to go all in. And they just go all in. I'm like, okay, well, I Hex. And I lose. And I'm like, yeah. I don't know. That's kind of been some of my games on ladder, TJ.
How does it do in other matchups?
Hex?
Yeah.
It's reasonable against